Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine. It's time for our setup camp sketch with me, the next one in this series. I try to do a sketch for each collection that comes out that I've introduced on the live stream from Creative Memories. And this sketch started out as a single page sketch, but I've turned it into a 2-page sketch, and I will show you in just a moment the measurements and everything I've done to expand the sketch. And it's a little bit more interactive this time, so it's kind of a fun one. If you like it, hit the thumbs up button, leave me a comment, and if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. Here we go into our project. Okay, so here it is. Here is the sketch I've picked out for this project. It is linked in the description box below. And it's kind of interesting because with this sketch, let me hold this up real quick. You'll notice that I have a left side of the page here and a right side of the page with dimensions here. That is because I've turned this one into a 2-page layout. I really thought about this one a lot. The original blog post has a memorabilia pocket here, and it is a double layered one, and we're going to be doing a variation on that. But I just thought there really wasn't a lot of space for pictures after I got done with the memorabilia stuff and then cutting smaller strips for the sides and decorating, and I thought I really wanted to have a few more pictures, so that's where I added the second page, and you'll see what I've done. But I do use one of our 5x7 peekaboo pockets and one of our 4.1 by 3.6 memorabilia pockets, which come in a pack like this, and it does have different sizes in there, and a lot of them are small. So if you just have a little something you want to add to one of your pages, you can, and these would fit nicely on top of your page protectors. I'm also going to talk about another way we can do this, which is probably the way I'm going to wind up doing it, but we'll get there. I am using the trail sign punch. I have already punched out what I'm going to be using. And then I also pulled out the boot print decorative border punch as well. So here we go. Let me go ahead and move this out of the way. We're going to do the right side of the page first because that one's a little bit simpler, maybe a little bit less complicated, I guess, than the left side, but we're going to go ahead and do the right side first. I'm pulling out my parchment board. If you haven't seen my parchment board before, I use electrical tape to hold the parchment onto a sturdy piece of cardboard, and it's not going to go anywhere. It's really nice. We're not baking with it, so it really doesn't matter, and you don't have anything to interfere with your taping. So I have 2 of these sheets for my base. It's the one with the wood look, and it kind of has sort of a khaki camping icons on the back side of it. And I'm going to use the same sheet for both sides. So I did pull out both of them. And then we're also going to use our RV page, which is super cute. That has the plaid on the back. And then also our other little camping icons page with the kind of khaki arrows on the back side. That one's a really lighter page. So I'm going to go ahead and get these put down. I've cut both of these sheets to 5.5 inches by 11 inches. So they're kind of going to have almost a little bit of a framed look on it. You'll see where on the sketch it does have a little bit of almost a frame look going around it. And so on the left side, I also did a 5.5 by 11 for this middle piece because we're using a 5x7 peekaboo pocket. And I did use the one that was 5 inches wide and 7 inches tall. And you'll see that coming up. And then 2.5 by 11 on each side. So that way we're going to have the frame look on both sides. But I really wanted to have, like I said, more paper available for matting my photos. And I thought this would be a good way to do it because it mimics what's happening on the right side of the page. And we're using the same papers. So we don't have a ton of scraps, but what scraps we have, you're going to see on the card. So we will have our card coming up as well. And let's see here. Let's get this centered so it has a nice area around it. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of place it, but I'm not going to push it down yet because I want to make sure I have a nice framed look and that these both are kind of even here. Whoops. And everything, of course, is sliding around on my desk, which is always no fun at all. But hey, you work with what you have. How is that? Not too bad. I think we're pretty even. I've got a nice little area there in the center. There we go. Okay, that one was a little bit off. All right, those two are going down. And then with my boot print, I punched them out of hot fudge cardstock. So you can see there our boot prints are brown, and those are going to just go across the top. It's almost as if you're walking through the woods. I'm going to go ahead and grab out my repositionable tape here and just go ahead and go over these things so that way they'll stick nicely on top of our designer paper here. And I kind of wanted both of my boot prints to be going in the same direction. So there we go. And that's it. How's about that? It seems pretty easy, doesn't it? Just you wait until we get to the left side of the page. But I also want to show you, I do have a couple of prints here. These are 4x6 photos. So you can put on you need to trim probably about a 1/2 inch off of this other one, but you could easily fit to this direction, or you could easily take and fit 2 of these if you trim off a little bit of your edge from your 6 inch, because remember this is 5.5. So you're going to want it probably 5x4 maybe. So it would be, you could have 2 of these, so long as you trim off just that little bit from the edge. So you could fit 4 pictures here easily and use these pages as your mats, but it doesn't really matter which direction you want to put them. They'll work on these really long mats. And so you don't really have to be tied into which way is my photo going to go when you go to put them on your page. So I just thought I would do something a little different that way and share that with you. Now, the left side, I hope I haven't scared anybody, but bear with me here. It's all going to work out. It's going to be a cute page, and you're going to be able to get, like I said, you're going to get at least 4 on the right side. The left side, not so much. So here is the same paper. Like I said, I use the same papers on both sides. I just cut them a little bit differently. So I have my 5.5 by 11 going in the center. So this one's definitely following the sketch a little bit more. But with the placement that I did on the right side, I kind of continued the pattern a bit. So you can see where I have the one with the white background, and then the tan, and then the white, and then the tan, and then the white. So it flows nicely going across. And let's go ahead and get these put down. And then I've got some embellishments, and I've got some stickers, and I have a couple of more of the boot prints. Let me get out my 0 centering ruler as well, because I think we're gonna need it for centering our pieces on the side, just because they're so different sizes makes it a little bit more tricky. And of course my tape runner ran out. Back in business, changed out my tape runner cartridge real quick. It's so easy to do. You just match up the peg in the middle there. So what is this? 5.5. So 1/2 of 5.5. I guess we really don't have to worry about that. We're right around the 2 3/4 mark. Yep, right here. And then we also know we're going to have about a 1/2 inch on top and about a 1/2 inch on bottom. So how does that look? Pretty good. I usually do eyeball it. Uh-oh, except for the, well, you know what? I'm going to stick it down and then I'm going to flip it because it was almost upside down, but now it's not. One of the nice things about paper is it's easy to fix. You don't usually have to worry too much about that. All right, so now this one I do need to make sure I have the correct direction. And let's line that one up with about a 1/4 of an inch on the edge here and maybe a little bit more coming over. This little one needs to come over just a hair. Just inside the 1/4 of an inch. Because I figured there'd be about a 1/2 inch here. So about a finger's width there. That's what it looks like. And then about the 1/4 inch again on the right side, getting that lined up again. Looks about the same. This one actually looks like it's over a little bit further than that one. So I'm going to move it just a hair. Whoops, this is why I didn't want to push down on it. Okay, there's a 1/4. Make sure the top and bottom are lined up. Oh my goodness, this keeps shifting on me. Probably because I keep touching and moving it. There we go. Okay, that looks good. All right. So there's that and there's that. Okay. A little tricky, but not too bad. So now I have my boot print again, and these are going to go down here. And I do kind of want them going the same direction as the other ones because, again, it gives us a little bit of continuity going across the 2 pages. But I'm going to put it all the way at the bottom, just like I put the other one all the way at the top, which means that, as usual, I guess, I'm not quite following the sketch. Uh-oh, that one's upside down. Hang on, let me get my multi-purpose tool after I made a point of making sure that I was going to be right side up on this side. I didn't follow my own instructions on this other side. So let me just grab my multi-purpose tool. You just kind of have to work with it because I use the regular tape runner. And it is what it is. Sometimes it happens. I get so excited about sharing my projects and what I've done differently on things that sometimes I miss these little details. Making sure my paper is, the design is showing the right direction that it needs to be going. But you know what? Hey, we're all human and it happens and it's an easy fix. So let me get my ruler back down here again, about a 1/4 of an inch from the edge here. Get that lined up again. Bring that in a hair. Okay. Easy fix. There we go. Whew. How long did that take? 30 seconds for me to fix? All right. That can get put away. And so now we have our boot prints, we have our strips, and I'll show you here what I meant about changing up this part, because here is where they had the a border that they punched on the sketch, and then below it they had some of the paper showing, some of the actual designer paper that they used in this section. But again, I just thought that this leads to a little more continuity between our pages, and just thought it looked a little bit nicer. All right, so here is my peekaboo pocket. And like I said, we have a couple of options. This is a 5x7, and I've put a bookmark that we picked up recently at the, I believe it's the Socorro National Park, Western National Parks Association. Recently when we went out to check out the cactuses out there. And so my 5x7 peekaboo pocket is here. And then what I really wanted to find was one of the maps, the national park maps, but we're getting ready to move and things are not so easy to find right now. So, since our Peekaboo Pocket is 5 inches, that's why I wanted to have the 5.5 inches on our center page. And what you can do is I'm going to actually attach this to the page. The sticky tab is on the back side here. I'm going to pull it off and you're going to go, don't do it, Catherine, don't do it. I'm going to do it because we can actually cut a hole in our cover. So you can actually take and cut a little slit with an X-Acto knife in your cover that you go to put it in, and you can just slip your Peekaboo Pocket through your cover. But this way, you know, it'll look nice and lined up on your page as well. Now, if you really have strong feelings about it, just put it on top of your page protector. It's not that big of a deal. I'm doing it to show you all options. Okay, let's see. This is going to go down here. These are a couple of embellishments, and I want to talk about a couple of mats before I get into what I've done with the memorabilia pocket, because that one I need to pull out my corner rounder for. But we have this little field note embellishment, but also in our mat pack, we have one that looks like a little journal. This is one of the 6x4 mats or 4x6. And you can easily put this one up here if you want. I mean, I thought about cutting it and just using it at 2 inches on here on both sides, but I found this little field note embellishment, and I just thought it went so well with the Trailblazer. It has the same colors in it, and you know how funny I am about color. So I wanted to go ahead and use that. You also can use it on the right side of your thing. You will need to cut just a little bit off as well. And you can add this as an extra large journal box on the right side as well. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that one. And then I also pulled out, this one is one of our 4.5 by 6.5 mats. And if you don't have the memorabilia pockets, which is what is here, and I've actually added a couple of our, oh, here it is. I'm sorry, I told you completely the wrong thing. Let's see. Salinas Pueblo missions. We did that also. What is this one? I guess these are all Salinas Pueblo, but I'm pretty sure that one was from Socorro. So we've been to the Pueblo as well. And you know, when you go to the national parks, you can get your little passport stamp. And sometimes they get into the passports for us, and sometimes they wind up just sitting around. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and use them in one of our memorabilia pockets to show you how nicely those fit in there. But if you don't have the pockets, which they're very reasonably priced, you might want to get some pockets. You can take one of the 4.5 by 6.5 mats. You can grab your trimmer, you can grab your scoring blade and go ahead and score down the two sides. Put a little notch here and a little notch here, and then fold it under, and then put a little score going up here so that way you can fold that under as well. And then take your custom cutting system or your circle punch and punch a little notch, if you will. And then you can attach that in front as well. And then by having that there, you might want to need to add like something with a little bit of a tab on it. So that way you can just pull it out to make for another interactive piece on your page. But I pulled this one because it matched the background paper, and I thought it was cute with it, and I even debated using it, but then I actually remembered that I had memorabilia pockets, so that's what I wanted to use. Now, I also took one of our mats. It was one of the 4.5 by 6.5 mats, and I cut it down. I measured the back of the pocket without this little, because eventually I think you actually shut the little flap and it sticks with the little sticker that's here. So there's a sticky part here, and then the whole thing will stick. It's going to go onto here, or at least that's where I'm putting it. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere it to my Peekaboo Pocket using my tape runner. But I just thought this is going to add just another nice little layer, and it matches really well. The colors do with our RV page. So that is what I'm doing. But I also am going to take, because I noticed that the bottoms of our pocket are rounded. So I'm going to grab my corner rounder and just go ahead and let's round these corners. Whoops. It's always a little bit harder when they're either the cardstock or the mats. There we go. And so now we have rounded corners to match the rounded corners on here. I'm going to go ahead and pull it off. And let me go ahead and put this down so that way the camera will pick it up a little bit better for you all. So you can see the rounded corners. I'm going to go ahead and just layer our pocket on to our mat that we cut. And hope I get this lined up well. I'm just a hair off, but it's okay. Yep, make sure you get it lined up before it flops down on there. Y'all get to learn so much from my little subtle mistakes. I think I'm about 1/8 of an inch off over here, but it looks good. I'm going to just trim that with my scissors. So here we go, grabbing my regular scissors here, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut that. Just ever so slightly wide on there. Anyways, there we go. Okay. So there is our pocket. I will hold that up for you all in just a moment. Here we go. Let's put that away. And you see how nicely our little stamps from the national park show up in there. And I think it's just, rather than putting two clear things on top of each other, I think it gives us that extra little layer of showing that, hey, there's something else you can look at here. There's another interactive part of this page, and you can look at that, and you can look at what's in the Peekaboo Pocket. You can actually pull out what's in the Peekaboo Pocket. If there's a map or a brochure you want to share from your national park, put it in there. Or from wherever you've gone. If you've gone to a play, there are, I believe, 6x12 Peekaboo Pockets as well. And you can use the same technique with those as well. So I'm going to center this on the bottom here. I've just used my regular tape runner, and now that's going to go down. Take out my little bookmark because that's adding a funny color. It's just too bright. So now let's go ahead and, also, I pulled out this little sticker because I thought that would look cute there. But anyways, I took the rest of my scrap from after I cut the memorabilia piece. And I do have this little piece left too. I'm not sure this might show up on our card, but I took with the trail signs punch. You remember me talking about that? I punched out 2 little trail signs, and we're just going to stack them over here on the side. I'll grab my repositionable tape. And here we go with one. We're just going to stack them. It's just going to add a little bit to the page here. Now, if you don't want to put this extra embellishment, you don't have to. You could find a small photo to put here. I believe that's what they did on the blog post. But for me, like I said, I like larger pictures, and it just was taking too much of my brain space to try to figure out how I was going to get a picture in there. I guess maybe I will get some smaller pictures eventually, but we'll see. Or I guess if I get my own personal printer, I can print those smaller as well. So my little trailblazer is going down here. And then there was this really cute sticker that has a little trail sign going to the overlook, and then it says 8 miles going the other way with an actual hiker, which I thought, you know what? We have all of these footprints. Let me grab a foam square, a couple little foam squares here. I don't know what happened to my large foam squares. I'll have to find those. but the little ones work too. They pop it up just as well. Just need to deal with a little bit more foam square confetti. Okay, so that's going up here. And then over here, yes, you can actually take, so my other picture that I had, my little sunset picture that I had taken and cut down, if you actually have a picture that is kind of like this where you can take off, this will actually fit here. So you just would need to take off a little bit more from the either the top or the bottom from it. And you can get a photo here, and yeah, you probably could get a photo here as well if you're willing to cut them down. If you don't want to put this sign up, the little sticker there, you can fit another one up here. So I'm just trying to give you all some extra ideas. But this is our page, our left side of our page. Like I said, hopefully I didn't lose too many of you on that one. And maybe I need to put my bookmark back in so you can actually see where the Peekaboo Pocket is on here. Here we go. So my bookmark just goes a little bit above the top of the Peekaboo Pocket there. And you can now you can see where the little plastic runs right up. There's about 1/8 of an inch above where my bookmark goes. But such a kind of a fun page. I just thought it was a really neat idea, especially if people are getting ready to do a lot of summer travel. If you are getting ready to go to some national parks or do some camping, it just seemed like a good idea to add some pockets to our pages. I don't do that all that often. And I'm pretty sure I haven't shown them the memorabilia pockets ever because I had actually forgotten that I had them. So not sure. I think I bought them for a class I was taking for myself, and then I never actually wound up using them somehow. So there we go. There is our 2-page layout. And you can see where both sides are framed out nicely. It should look really nice together in a book. And like I said, this can easily pop through your page protector. And if you want, you can even add a photo underneath here, because then when people go to look at what's in your pocket and what's in your Peekaboo Pocket, then they might actually lift it and you can put a nice large picture under here as well. So hopefully I've given you a lot of ideas of things that you can do with this sketch. And again, it will be linked in the description box below with the blog post that will show the original idea that I believe was from, I don't want to say, that will show the original idea. So hang tight for our card. I have it ready to go somewhere. For our card, I've pulled out one of our blank cards from our card kit. And it's always good to make sure that you're working on it with the side that opens up the correct way for the person who's going to receive it. I've pulled out my enameled embellishments that came with our embellishment pack for the Setup Camp collection. And I also took just some of our strips that we had. When I cut the 5.5 by 11 inch pieces, I had 3 5.5 inch strips ready to go for a card. So I also had this plaid left over from either my project recipe mashup or the sketch with me. And on the back side, it has this really pretty green that works nicely with our white paper on it. So I'm going to add our little pieces from our campers or RVs on the top and bottom of the card. And then I'm going to center our green paper. This one's going to be just a quick and easy card. I do also have some stickers I'm going to be using with it as well. But I like to give you all ideas of ways you can use your scraps as well. And I kind of like to give you some foam card ideas too. And this, I think, does both. Fix this one, because it was just a little bit off. There we go. Okay. So now here, this one is going to have just a little bit of white space from the blank card showing above and below. It's going to be about 1/8 of an inch. My middle strip, I am sorry, I forgot to tell you the width on that one. So that is 2 inches, and our other 2 pieces here are 1 inch. So 2 strips that are 1 inch by 5.5 inches, and then this is a 2 inch by 5.5 inch piece. This also is a 1 inch by 5.5 because it was our extra strip left over from cutting our larger piece for the right side of our page that we just put together. And I'm making sure that my design is the right direction, or the correct direction, should I say. I saw this really cute sticker that says, "Let's sleep under the stars." And I thought, you know what, that might be a fun way to invite somebody to come camp with you sometime. And why not send them a card? They're so fun. I mean, we're basically using up scraps and a sticker and a couple embellishments, and you don't have to spend $5, $6, $7, $8 at the store for a card. You can just use what you have, and people really appreciate it. It's even funny how a lot of times if I send a homemade card, I get a text saying, "Thank you so much for the card." I think they think it takes a lot of time, effort, and energy, and it really doesn't. So I found also in the embellishments our tent. There is a tent on the sticker sheet as well, but it was kind of a different tent, and I liked this one better with the colors of our pages and our RVs. And of course, there also is an RV sticker and embellishment as well if you'd rather. But I thought if we're sleeping under the stars, maybe the tent makes more sense. I don't know. If not, hey, use the RV. You're still going to be under the stars, I guess, as well. And what caught my eye with the embellishments here was the pine tree. I really thought that would add to our colors here. Let's see, where do we want to put this one? Here? I think so. And then also some of our, oh, hey, there's boot prints too here. But I'm not going to add a boot print. I am going to add a couple of our pine needles coming down as well. So I think it just really helps to add a little bit of extra to our card that we've done. And not bad at all. We do have a couple of extra little colorful buttons and things, but I think we have enough color coming from the rest of our paper. So I think that'll do it. I don't know if my pine tree makes sense, but you know what? It's okay. I like it with the pine needles coming down. And you know what? I think whoever receives this card is going to appreciate it. It's cute. And they may or may not want to go camping with me. I'm not the best camper. My husband is, though. So, maybe I should send this to him. He would absolutely probably love to get me asking him to go camp under the stars. So that's it for our sketch with me. Let me grab our layout again real quick. Clear these other things off my desk. Here's our card one last time. And here is our page again and the original sketch that inspired it all. Thank you so much for joining me. I would love it if you would hit the thumbs up button or leave me a comment. How do you think I did? Will you put your peekaboo pocket? Will you put it on the page, or will you wait to put it on the page protector? Until next time.